welcome to Sweet Release Healing's Roundtable. I am Andrea Lovett of Sweet Release Healing. Tonight we have with us Carlene, Brittany, and Tiffany, and our fantastic producers Sharon and the Morgan. Kaylee will be joining us soon. Tonight's topic is we are getting back to roots of our spirituality, to the roots, to the essence, to the lifeblood. But before we do that, I have to talk about something that really fucking pissed me off. I'm sure you guys saw this, but someone on TikTok was all, what? Why are you guys already laughing? Stop it. Pull it together. I'm not that funny. Not yet. I said I was mad, not laughing. Oh, oh, good. Brittany's face and I froze. Fantastic. We love when that happens. Yay, technology on this planet. So anyhow, back to it. Someone on TikTok had said that someone called her spiritually broken.
How?
And the gist I got from that was like a reader. That's what I said. Like a reader had said to her, "You're spiritually broken." To which, typical me with like a freaking bull in a china shop was like, "Why are we taking someone else's opinion on our spirituality?" And I freaking went off. But also, why are we taking someone else's opinion on our spirituality? Like, let's talk about getting back to roots of spirituality, because that kind of shit is fucking rude, but also wrong. That's just straight up wrong. Oh, I like what Mama Chick just said. Gatekeeping. Gross. Ooh. And I wonder if that was part of it, because I think we've all seen horrible readers say things to people. You have a demon or you have an attachment, and for this bargain basement price, I'll fix it for you. All kinds of stuff. And I'm like, there literally is no such thing as an attachment like humans see it. They think about it like this leech parasite thing. And I'm like, that's called consequences because you weren't a good person. The little bit of energy following you around because you did the shit to call it in. I don't know what to tell you. Clear your shit. Be a nicer person. But this just pissed me off because I'm like, oh, see, Danielle's saying that her dad got scammed that way just a few weeks ago for $500. What? What? This is the stuff that drives me bananas in spirituality, is from at some point or another. Tiff and I were talking about druids today. We went from this beautiful druid culture of speaking to spirit and listening to them authentically from our own place, our own seat, and our own being, to Miss Cleo. What the fuck?
That's the sad part, because it turned into entertainment, which then turned into fear mongering to prosper and succeed. One of my friends just went to another psychic who read amazingly, was spot on, but then at the end was like, "Oh, somebody put a hex on your mother when she was pregnant with you, and then you were born, and this bad luck has followed you through." And I'm like, that's not a thing. Like, that's not a thing. Calm down. She just wants you to come back for more. There is no autonomy when it comes to spirituality, because people are afraid that eventually they're not going to need them, and then there goes their source of money. But that's not the point, and that's not the goal.
It bugs me that so many spiritualists get so much attention for the razzle dazzle bullshit that doesn't even work. Like, they sit there and flip their cards around and the cards are flying, or like they have like all these hand movements and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is not what it's about. What are you doing? You're turning it into entertainment and not actual advice. Like, not modes to live by, but modes to live with. Things that make your life actually better. And like Danielle was saying on here, this person told her dad that he had a curse put on him and that she was still heckling him for more money. Are you kidding me? No one can do anything to your energy without your permission, your consent, and your involvement. It can't just be like, oh, someone's going to send bad energy at you. Cool. Fucking people send bad energy at me all the time. Do I give a shit? No, because I stay in my lane. I shine my light. I focus on me. I have my protections up, but my protections are more because I don't want to feel everybody's everything around me, which we all know when we've had a couple drinks. That's exactly what happened.
I think that can
Oh,
also be a really
Cleo.
hard pill for some people to swallow, is being told that they have
For
a part
those who
in the
are too
fear that
young.
they're feeding into.
It's easier to
I'm sorry.
blame somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's always easier to blame somebody else. 100%. Kaylee's here.
Kylie!
Yay, Kaylee.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome.
Oh my God.
Oh, I know. So we were talking, I don't know what you caught so far, but we were talking about someone on TikTok said she had a reading from somebody who said that she was spiritually broken. Just straight up called her spiritually broken. Yeah, your face says it all. What? Are you serious? And we were talking about how spirituality has gone from these beautiful roots of like how the druids used it in conjunction with your own energy in with all the earth forces, to turning it into like this entertainment value. Like, don't even get me started on what Hollywood has done to bastardize what we do and how we do it. It's absolutely ridiculous to me that we're still dealing with this. It's 2023. How are we still dealing with this?
I have another perspective on it, though.
Everybody's forgotten.
Well, yeah, I 100% agree. I've literally the past maybe week, I have been absolutely getting little snippets of being reminded that we can actually talk out loud about this stuff, though. Like, we're in a time where we can be out in the open with all of these things. And yeah, maybe not everybody's gonna agree with it, and a lot of people think that it's a joke, but we're still able to be out in the open with it and find our people with it. Whereas, how many lifetimes have we had to hide? So, like, I see both sides. It's like beyond joyful that I can be out in the open and we can have this podcast and we can talk out in public about these kinds of things and like have our space to do that. But then it's just beyond irritating that then we're still ridiculed, but on a different front.
It's true. Every time I tell a story, someone goes, there's always some joke about, oh, you didn't see that coming? You must not be a very good psychic then. I'm like, you're right. I'm super shitty at
Somebody
it.
used it on me the other day.
And you?
Yeah, it was my coworker. It's like, oh, you should have saw that coming. I was like, fuck off. First of all, it took me like 4 months to convince this person to let me do a reading. He's like, haha, you're not. So I was like, let me do a reading then. Let me do a reading. I wrote it all down on a piece of paper and then we talked about it later. And he's like, well, da 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 da. And so I opened the paper and I was like, I wrote this down. So give me my brownie points and shut up.
Hello, Soul Freedom Breathwork. Thank you very much. We do good work here. Oh my goodness. But yes. So one of my handyman is one of my good friend's friends. And he's my friend too, but it's, friend group in the area. So he came over to fix something in my bathroom. I had a feeling, looked out the front window, and there he was pulling up in his truck. So I was like, oh, hey, Matt's here. And I start walking to the front as he's walking to the front door, and I opened it just before he got to knock on it. This poor man who's been telling me for months that he doesn't believe in any of this stuff. He's like, I don't believe in any of this shit. And he's like a super New England guy. Ugh, Morgan, Jesus Christ. There go the producer comments in the chat. No, he is not a handy man for me. He is literally the dude who fixes things in my house. I pay him and we say, bye, see you later. That is not the thing. There is no fixing me. I could definitely go to another neck of the woods for that one. Anywho, I open the door as he's going to knock and he goes, holy fucking shit, you are psychic. And I was like, shut up, Matt. Just shut up. And he was like, you saw me coming, didn't you? You knew when I left my house, didn't you? And he's just razzing me the entire time. Funny as hell. So funny. But I'm like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. So my son comes up to him. My son was 6 at the time. And he goes, who are you? And Matt goes, oh, you don't have any of your mother's gifts, huh? I was like, shut up. Just answer him. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I find funny. But like the second someone's like, don't you know? Didn't you see that coming? I'm like, how does it feel to chew your own face? Shut up. So I guess we should probably get to the actual topic of getting the roots of spirituality. A little bit, huh? Unless you just want to bitch this whole time, which, whatever. Maybe we should save that for
I could do it.
We should save it for after dark so I don't get in trouble on TikTok again. Again.
I got a lot to bitch about, so.
Oh God, I love Jess. She just said with the with the bingo card, off topic can be crossed off. You have your bingo cards handy for this week. You can cross off topic. Okay, go ahead, Kaylee.
Oh, not yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay, save it. Saving it for after us.
Yeah.
All right. So getting back to the roots of spirituality and things that are important, what is integral to your practice that you feel is just super important to keeping you rooted in your own?
Looking into like ancestry for me. I mean, there's nothing interesting. It's all white bread, but like going back, to see like culturally where I came from.
You're doing great, baby. You're doing great.
Then, to like implement some of that because it's still a part of me. It's how I, from point to point to point, got here. And then also looking into like who I was before.
Yeah.
Who my soul was before is important too.
I agree with that one. The past life memories are really helpful to me to keep me steady and grounded here as a human being. I'm so used to being not from here that everything it's so hard here. So complicated. It's not complicated, but it is complicated. It's complicated for me because I'm used to just a snap of the fingers and whatever I want is there. As opposed to actually now using earth energies is a different modality for me. It's almost like learning to drive on the other side of the road. Like it's there, but it goes against the grain of where you feel like you should be. But the past life memories help me a ton, especially like past witchy lives. Tiff and I were talking about past druid lives where I have some pretty vivid memories there. Spirals being super important, just the smell of spruce trees specifically. It's just, that's the kind of stuff that keeps me rooted to now. What about you, Brittany? Tiffany?
For me, I don't know if I understood the question correctly, but I'm gonna just say what I'm gonna say.
Please do.
For me, when it comes to my spirituality, the fact that I'm knowing in growing confidence that it's always there, it's never gonna go, and I'm not always starting from zero. Like, if I have to go about my muggle life for a little bit, I know it's always back and waiting for me. So, like, that's a comfort there to keep me grounded, because I know I can always revert back to it, even if I kind of do the muggle thing for a while.
I agree with that. I can't see Tiff. I thought she might have been starting to talk. Anyway, I agree with that, Brittany, because a biggest thing for me is like, I can be really hard on myself. So like with journaling, for instance, if I set a goal for myself to be like, okay, I'm going to start journaling on a regular basis because that's what grounds me. That's what makes me feel better. That's what makes me feel more at center, you know? If I try to get myself on a schedule with that and then I miss a day, I tend to beat myself up a lot, because then I'm like, here we go, I'm gonna have to start all over. And then just the reminding myself and spirit helping to remind me that, like, hey, you're still doing it though. You're still coming back to it at some point. You're not starting from zero, just like you said. Like, you're still doing it. I think that's really important too, is like, you don't give up and you don't lose your status. You don't lose anything that you've gained already. If anything, you just keep growing on top of that.
They say like all roads lead back to Rome. That's kind of the same thing.
I think part of like the lesson of being here too is like learning new ways to get back to who you were. I think that is probably a really important part, because I can get creative. So I'm sure I've come up with multiple different ways.
One
And it's
thing
kind
that
of like,
I
go
try
ahead.
to focus on is not relying so much on technology, because I realized at a point that I would research and research and research, but I would forget that I already had the knowledge in there. So the less that I'm actually researching and deep diving down a rabbit hole, it actually keeps me centered and grounded in my practice and reliant on spirit to bring up the memories from the past lives that I already have that knowledge from.
Speaking of new ideas, that's a new idea.
When I think of the knowledge of my past lives, I see it as a root system. And it's just tapping into that root system and bringing it all forward. Sometimes we have to trust that the answers are just already there. We have to just pull from them.
I think we overcomplicate that too, because we sit here and we go, but how? But how? But how? And I hear that a lot when I say people like, well, go to your entourage and talk to your past lives and people you've been there with and let them tell you the story from their perspective of how this was going. And they're like, the first question is always, but how? But how do I do that? And I'm like, well, you get quiet for just a second and you talk to them and write what comes up. And if you get silence, tell them you got silence and you need them to turn up the volume, something, and do it in small pieces. Like, was the life even here on Earth, or where on Earth was it? And what's the approximate time period? And where were you situated? Like, where did you live? What was the house like? Do small pieces instead of trying to digest a full life. Do pieces of a life and see what the effect is now and ask about it. I feel like we make things, like I'm saying, so freaking complicated. Like, if you were to look up just an angel number, first of all, calling them an angel number already complicates things because it pushes other people out who don't believe in angels and have religious trauma. So that's a frustration right there. But if you were to go, like, I'm going to Google right now, just the number 333. 333 meaning, right? What?
Filling in the blank.
What did you do? What happened?
You froze, and so I was filling in the...
I'm so tired of freezing. I don't understand what's going on with my internet. I pay the bill. Okay. So, like I was saying, we go to angel number 333. And that, like I said, calling it an angel number is already problematic. So I put 333 meaning. The first thing that comes up, there's first of all, there's about 443 million results. 443.
Good internet again.
This is so fun. I love this.
We're manifesting.
There's 443 million results for the number 333 meaning. That makes it so freaking complicated. It's talking about sets plans into action. Let your personal strength be the guide to trust yourself and put yourself into your choice. Put thought into your choices. Then it's also divine reminder that God, the universe, source, the great creator, being creative is part of it. And then you have power and energy and confidence and growth. And you are seen. People are watching. It means that you're living your life with great joy. Which one is it? Which one is it? All right, I'm just going to.
I think the razzle dazzle goes back to what you said earlier. Everybody's looking for that entertainment value. Mm-hmm. They want that big wow. Even so far down that people as readers can expect it to come through a certain way because they've seen it come through that way for other people, even if it is not true. So the expectations that are put into place at this point in time are truly just unrealistic, and it's not as crazy as seen on TV.
Yeah.
As seen on TV is exactly right.
Well, the thing, and anyone can put anything on the website. So I could make a whole completely different definition for 333, and it could be so vague that no matter what way you look at it, I'm right. Like, you could really just kind of have to throw it away and go with your intuition and gut and saying, what does this mean for me?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. One of my past students, she had one of the earlier gift focus sessions with me. And then she's one of the ones who stole one of the early gift focus sessions with me and started doing it on her own. And it went horribly wrong. I see way too many of her clients. But anyhow, she was someone who would routinely say, just Google it to people. She would tell them all the time, you should Google the meaning. Nothing about stepping into it. Nothing about how to use your gifts to actually do that. How to actually talk to your spirit guides. Just Google it.
It's like getting a diagnosis off of the internet for a sickness or an illness. Yeah, literally. Just spiritual MD. That's what it is.
And it's
so
annoying.
One of the reasons that it's so strict here in Las Vegas,
I find it so frustrating when spiritual people won't actually give you an answer. And how is that?
And they're never wrong.
Oh, that's exactly it. It feeds their fears of never being wrong. I have so many people who come to me and give focus sessions and are so afraid of doing things wrong. And I'm like, baby, you're learning the basis of spirituality. You're learning the basics of how to use your spiritual gifts. Essentially, I'm pushing people back to the roots of spirituality. Talk to your highest self, talk to your team, talk to your spirit guides, feel the energies and pay attention to the elements, what calls to you and what feels good for you. There's very few wrong ways to do spirit. And usually that involves straight up not listening. Just taking your ball and your bat and going home. Or, like I saw with another session, purposely giving awful fear-based advice, only coming from your own trauma.
So one of the things in Vegas, and the reason why people are not too keen on psychics here, I found out, is because they purposefully tell people what they want to hear, no matter what. And it's tarot readers. Like, if you go in and get a job as like a tarot reader, they tell you, take this card, this card, this card. Like, so like the Tower, Devil, Death, take all of those cards out of your deck. Don't even have them in there. And they say, I don't care what you get. Don't tell them. It's all supposed to be happy and nice. Well, it's not.
Oh.
Sometimes people have to know that. You not giving that information to them, you have failed.
So they're like saying
What's
take like half of the
what's
major
it-
arcana out of the deck.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like death isn't even a bad card. Like what the fuck?
No.
I mean,
Death is one of my favorite cards because it's change, it's transformation, it's new.
Well, same with the Tower
And
too.
that's listed here. Yeah, the Tower can be like it. The Tower, depending on like what you get from it, is like shit just happened to you, right? And it's not like doom and gloom. Everything's going to shit for you. Like, it doesn't mean that. I mean, it can, but it's just
it's the intensity of what's going on.
Right. And even as a card reader, you're still depending on your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're a good reader, you still do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's just a
But
divination
it's
tool.
crazy to me that's yeah. It's just an easier way to formulate what they're trying to say. And that's how I started. Was using the cards. Like, I'd pull a card and I'd be like, this kind of means this, but I'm kind of getting the feeling that it means this and this and this and this also. And then we get other information in.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like tarot is a gateway drug.
Yeah.
But imagine what it looks like, being that they would center their entire practice around essentially lies.
Yeah. I think it's gross.
This is
And
why
maybe
reading
because of-
gets taken away.
Yeah. Yeah. This is why I can't do what I need to do here, is because of people like that.
But in saying that, we're all dealing with the mistakes of people who've come before us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hence freaking stupid psychic jokes and the mediumship jokes and people constantly making fun of us and saying that's not even real, you're making it up. Yeah, because people before us did make it up, got caught making it up, and now it makes it super hard for us. Do you know how many people are like, so are you one of those who believes that everyone can do this? And I'm like, yes, I am. Well, I disagree. Well, cool. I didn't want to have a debate, so have a nice day.
It's unfortunate that you feel that way.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that you're limiting yourself that
Sucks to
way.
say. I don't know what to say.
Sorry. And like one of my videos on TikTok, this person comes in out of nowhere and she's like, I think it's disgusting that you tell people that you connect with their loved ones. Okay, well, the people who I've connected with their loved ones beg to differ.
Right.
Oh, did you see what Jessica put in the chat? That's an issue. She wrote, that's an issue, not an ish me.
Mm-hmm.
Completely.
Damn straight.
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and that is yours. It is not mine.
And then they're like, well, it's never been proven by science. Well, a lot of shit hasn't been proven by science.
But that's not even true. It has
But
been
you
proven.
take it for fact.
That's literally not true. there has been so many scientific experiments on psychics, on mediums.
Yeah.
To see if they're telling the truth or not.
They're like, well, this college, this prestigious college did a study on it. Okay, and good for them. What questions were you asking?
But they
Who
also
were the
didn't
psychics?
it.
What were their strengths? What were their weaknesses? How close did they get to what you wanted? Like, you can't be like, everybody's like, okay, I'm thinking of a number, and then everybody's like, 4. And then just, you're out if you didn't get 4.
Hi, Mama.
You could have been like, I'm getting like a 2 + 2. I don't know. So I'm a guess 4, right? Like, it's all the way around. People just think that like you just can pull answers out of your ass now. Because
actually, the most recent one I read in a medical journal, it was a published study where a psychic had to medically evaluate people's diseases. And it was a double-blind study. She went through about 200 people and was right 95% of the time.
God, she must have been exhausted. The headache alone on that one.
So if anybody needs that as an example, I have it.
Thank you.
We'll play this game.
So on Dr. Oz, live on Dr. Oz, Teresa Caputo had to have one of those head things put on as she was reading. And they started noticing where her brain was lighting up. That she was essentially in a waking meditative state, like deep, 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 like monk-like meditation. But she was awake and talking.
Tyler Henry did something similar as well. And it was the same, different parts of his brain was lighting up. And it was almost a meditative state. It was a meditative state, yes.
Which tells you that's something you learn. Because we all have that kind of the brain. That, like, we all have that part of the brain. We all have that blood flow. We all have the ability to get into meditation. We just don't know how because we haven't actually practiced it. It's a skill we learn.
And it's not like you can test it like how fast can a runner run. If you have a runner that like only runs on their hands versus a runner that only runs backwards, you can't test them all the same. There is no control in testing a psychic medium. There is no control. You can only observe the output. So, like, the energetic fields, they've done studies on those. They've proved they exist. They prove that they change when someone is psychically reading. Like, the frequencies, the vibrations, they can test all of that, but they can't conclusively, like, it's not that hard. It's not hard to believe if you have evidence that backs it up.
It reminds me of wireless charging and cell phones.
That's exactly, like, how the fuck do you think you can call somebody in fucking Canada with a fucking device? Like, it's the same goddamn thing. Like,
throw time zones into it too, Kaylee. Like, throw time zones into it. Technically, you're talking to somebody in the past.
Yeah.
You're talking to somebody across space and time with a phone that's not connected to any wires, and you can't see that shit working. And I say that because I was watching one of those ghost hunter shows years and years ago, and they had this psychic medium there who was reading the dude, and they were using the thermo imaging stuff. And they watched as like this rainbow of light came from the psychic medium and connected to the guy he was talking to, and you could see the arc. How it drives me nuts. Plus, quantum physics and quantum entanglement is showing that these things are a reality, and we're using them every day.
Well, they can't even predict quantum physics. They can't predict it. It's unpredictable. But for some reason, we find that facts. For some reason, that's accepted. Neuroscience. We still don't even know half the shit our brain can do. Or how to fix the diseases in it.
You just need to look into the placebo effect to know that we barely know anything about the human body and what it can do.
Yeah. Especially the women's body, but that's it. That's all I'm going. That's all
that whole part between her mid thigh and the bottom of her rib cage is a total mystery. It might as well be the bottom of the ocean. So I feel like the whole root of spirituality is that it is our sixth sense, but it's too inconvenient to teach people how to use it. Instead, we teach the Pythagorean theorem and how to run a mile.
That's what I was just having like a brain explosion about. Okay. Kaylee just made me think of, I mean, now this is zooming out from what we were just talking about, but schools nowadays, the education system nowadays, it's so tailored to standardized testing, and every kid needs to be learning this thing and this thing only. And it reminds me of that that saying where like you can't teach a fish to climb a tree. There's more to the saying than
I was
that.
thinking of that earlier.
But like, okay, so education alone, that's already discounting a lot of people, okay, for learning a specific way. Spirituality is the same exact freaking way. And this country especially is so good at picking that stuff apart and is like, nope, you can only learn it this way, and you're learning it differently, then it's completely wrong. And to the point that everybody's just brainwashed to just being like, oh yeah, so that's wrong. When it's not. Like, think of how many of us made like little potions and stuff in our backyard, or like just doing stuff with the elements, you know, until at some point somebody told us, oh no, those are just games. When like, no, really, like we were actually playing with energies.
I completely agree. There's so many things that we just don't know. Like, so my ex-husband's friend, he and his brother had, I forget what that's called, where your stomach binds up a ton and your intestines get wicked inflamed. Not IBS, but the other one.
Crohn's?
Thank you. I was like, fuck. Had Crohn's. Their grandmother made them drink an herbal concoction. She used to mix herbs every single day, and she made them drink it for 2 months, and suddenly they never had it again. This is what we're saying. Getting back to the roots of spirituality and what spirit is actually telling us, we're surrounded by this earth on everything that can cure us, but it's too inconvenient to have to give kids a bath every day and enjoy the earth as it is. Oh God, the chat.
I don't know what made me think of this, like, but like my kid had baseball yesterday, like fast pitch, and like the parents actually got to be involved, and we got to play against them and everything. And I was actually out on the field, and just being out on the field with them and running and feeling the grass, like I was riding a high all night after that. And I was like, why am I not doing this more? Why am I not doing this more? Because I felt 10 times better than when I did before. So it's crazy.
I went hiking with someone, and it was just a gentle, small hike, and I took my shoes off, and I was just carrying my shoes, and they were like, don't you want to put your shoes on? I'm like, I'm in nature. Why would I want to stifle this connection?
Yeah. As a kid, I never wore shoes.
No.
Never ever. Like I'm forced to wear shoes here.
Mm.
But if I could not wear shoes, I would not.
I can hear like my inner child like judging me, because now when I walk outside, I'm like, ow, this hurts. Ow, ow. And my like the little kid in me's like, suck it up, like go.
Yeah, little kid Brittany, do not care.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where we get back to who we are as a human being here, regardless of whether we're from the stars or not from the stars or whatever it is. All right, the chat has got to take a backseat for a second because I can't. All right, you know what? Fuck it. Haley's fucking licking shit on here because she's eating food, which is fine. But Tiffany comes up with, Kaylee, stop licking shit. This isn't OnlyFans. To which Haley responds, don't shit on my future income. And the fucking chat is just going now. So if you guys are watching this on Spotify and on YouTube and you start seeing their faces and you see everybody just devolve, this is why. Because there's a whole other chat section here. It's not just the TikTok chat. It's the fucking podcast chat. Fucking, oh Jesus. So we have only psychics instead of OnlyFans. I feel like you guys are being biased against empaths and mediums. I'm just going to put that out there. It should be only spiritualists. You should be inclusive. It's 2023, you jerks. Pull it together. And apparently Kaylee is going to lick spiritual things on, spiritually lick, not lick spiritual things, because that would be weird. We're just going to spiritually lick things. And Kaylee wants it to be called Sexy Psychics because why not? Tiff wants calendars. Oh, now we're going to put it to Sexy Spiritualist because now we're going to be inclusive. Got it. So you can keep an eye on Sweet Release Healing for our next Sexy Spiritualist calendars. And
Morgan's our photographer. Just saying.
Yeah. Morgan is the photographer. The Morgan photographer. And it's in October. There we go. We're going to have beautiful scenery in the White Mountains of New Hampshire for your next installment of Sexy Spiritualists. No, it's only only spiritualists. I think we should stick with only.
Spooky spiritualists.
All right. So we're going to end up with like SSS. We're not going to be the SSS. I'm not doing it. It's too close to ass.
Well,
yeah, we're not doing this. Yeah, we're not doing that. Exactly. You guys got to focus.
I'll come up with a different word for sexy.
Thank you. You just take your time. You go ahead. Well, you figure out what you want to call it. I still think we should go with only spiritualists. You can get a reading while you're getting happy. What does spirit want me to know about myself?
I mean, do they do that? Like, I feel like
soften the blow.
We got to save that for after hours because all the things that went through my head.
Good tips.
Just the tip, though.
We haven't even made it to After Dark. This is just.
So Morgan's making fun of me. You didn't want that, Andrea? You had a whole talk about wearing pants. First of all, I stand by that talk about wearing pants. Pants are horrible. I stand by my complaining about wearing pants. That is never going to stop. So Brittany remembers that talk. I'm wearing pants. It's just, I'm not wearing pants. It's just not happening. I just put a bra on. You got to pick one or the other. I either have this awful wire contraption or my legs are in jail. Which one do you want? My ribs are in jail or my legs are in jail? Pick one. Jessica said her asthma cannot hit.
Also, everyone loses it can be used.
Yeah. Yep. Kaylee's right. If you have your bingo card, everyone loses it. There we go. There we go. Yep. Jessica said it too. Hey, everybody remember to hydrate. There's another bingo square. Sharon is definitely giving us the mom face while trying not to laugh at us. So there's that too. She's like, no. Liar. I lost all of it.
And scene. So, roots of spirituality.
No. Just once.
When Kaylee becomes the responsible one, you know it's fucked.
I'm out. I'm
First
done.
of all,
I'm just done.
how Andrea's frozen right now on
I
my
know.
screen.
You like the cover page for
I hate you guys
It's
so
the
much.
calendar front cover.
Somebody screenshot it.
I will kill you. Do I? Are you sure? Because fucking
Yeah.
Morgan's going to be the one to
Got it.
send it to me. We know this. It's going to be Morgan.
Shut up, Morgan.
You know what? You're right. We did hit 20 minutes. Let's just call it because we're a fucking mess. This is a mess today. But I'm here for it. It was funny as hell. I love you guys. Thank you for listening, watching, and putting up with our shit for another episode of the Sweet Release Healing Roundtable. Tonight's discussion has been Roots of Spirituality, where we talked very little about that. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Carlene. Thank you, Kaylee, for joining me in the conversation tonight. Also, thank you, Sharon and Morgan, for being our fantastic producers. Gods be with us. Love you. Thank you. Bye.